Japan is an island filled with volcanoes and it's... In the year negative 40,000, Japan might not have been here. In the year negative a billion, it was here, and you could walk, and some people walked. Then it got warmer, some bergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees, because it's warmer. So now there's an island, and the people, and they're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating trees, soft nuts, and using the latest technology, like bowls and stones. Ding dong, it's the world, and they have technology like TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders, and crazy TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders farms. Now you can make a lot of TVs, VCRs, automobiles, and camcorders really, really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of farm, which is something everybody needs to serve. So that makes you king. Rice farming spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, but this one was the most important, ruled by a heavenly super person. Knock knock, get the door, it's the door. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion from... Hey, please try this religion, he said. No, said everybody. And so the religion was put into place, and all the rules that came with it. Then the government was taken over by a clique, and they made some reforms, like making the government govern more. Hi, China, they said. Hi, shit, said China. Can you call us something else other than shit, said Japan. Like what, said China. How about land, said Japan. And they stole China's alphabet and wrote a book about themselves. And then they made lots of poetry and art and another book about themselves. Then they stopped every time the emperor died and kept it in one place for a while, right here. And they conquered the north, finally. Get that squared away. A rich hipster named Kuka is bored with modern Buddhism, visits China, and learns a better version, which is more comes invents the alphabet and causes art and literature to be shit for a long time. And the royal palace turned into such a dream world of art that they really give a shit about running the country. So if you live outside the palace, how are you supposed to protect your shit from shit? Hire a samurai. Everyone started hiring samurai. Rich, important people hired samurai. The samurai became organized and powerful, more powerful than the government. So they made their own military government. Here, they let the emperor still be emperor, but the shit is actually in control. Breaking news, the Mongols have invaded Russia. We've invaded Russia, said the Mongols. Please respect us. Okay, said Japan. So the Mongols came and died in a tornado. But they tried again and died in a tornado. Then the emperor overthrows the shit. Then the shit, and it overthrows him back and moves to Kyoto and makes a new shit. And the emperor can still dress like an emperor if he wants, that's fine. Now there's art. Like painting with colors, collaborative poetry, plays, monkey tea parties, gardening, architecture, goats. It's time for who's going to be the next shit. Usually it's the shit's kid, but the shit has a kid. So now who's it gonna be? Vote now. And everyone voted so hard that the palace caught on fire and burned down. The shit didn't actually care. He was off somewhere doing poetry. And the whole country broke into pieces. Everyone is fighting with each other for local power, and it's anybody's game. Knock knock, it's Jesus. They're here to take over. They just want to sell some shit, like Jesus. So that's cool, but everyone's still fighting each other for control. Now it's Jesus. And wouldn't it be nice to control the cap, which right now is shit? This clan is ready to make a run for it. Surprise, the smaller clan wins. And the leader of that clan steals the idea of invading the cap and invades the cap. And it goes very well. He's about halfway through conquering Japan when someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them, and then someone who works for him kills him, and then someone else who works for him kills them, and that guy finishes conquering Japan. And then he confiscated everybody's swords, and made some rules. And now I'm going to invade Korea, and then hopefully China, he said, and failed, and also died. But before he died, he told these 5 guys to take care of his 5-year-old son until he's old enough to be the next ruler of Japan. And the 5 guys said, yeah, right, it's not going to be this kid, it's going to be one of us, because we're grown-ups. And it's probably not going to be this guy, who happens to be way more rich and powerful than the others. A lot of people support him, but a lot of people support not supporting him. They have a fight, and he died, and starts a new government, right here. And he still lets the emperor dress like an emperor, and have very nice shit. But don't get confused, this is the new government, and they are very strict. So strict they close the country. No one can leave, and no one can come in. Except for the Dutch, if they want to buy shit, but they have to do it right here. Now that the entire country was at war with itself, the population increased a lot. Business increased, schools were built, roads were built, everyone learned to shit, books were published, there was poetry, sexy plays, sexy times, sexy puppet shows, and Dutch sexy times. Over time, the economic and cultural prosperity began to gradually slow down. Knock knock. It's the States, with huge gunboats. Open the country. Stop having it be shit, said the States. There was really nothing, so they signed a contract that let states, Britain and Russia, visit Japan anytime they want. Chushu hated this. That's shit, they said. And with almost very little outside help, they overthrew the shit and somehow made the emperor again and moved him to Edo, which they renamed capital. They made a new government, which was a lot more Western. They made a new constitution that was pretty Western, and a military that was pretty Western. And do you know what else is Western? That's right, it's conquering stuff. So what can we conquer? China. They conquer China, taking it from its previous owner, Korea, and then go a little bit further. And Russia rushes in out of nowhere and says,
"Stop, no, you can't take that. We were going to build a railroad through here to try to get some warm water."
And Russia builds their railroad, supervised by a shit, and then when the railroad was done, they downgraded to a fuck. And Japan says, "Can you maybe chill?" And Russia says,
"Machine I will cut you down, break you apart, splay the gore of your profane form across the stars. I will grind you down until the very sparks cry for mercy. My hands shall relish ending you here and now. That's the best you got.
Japan is scared of Russia. You'll never guess who's also scared of Russia. Japan. So Japan and Japan make an alliance together so they can be a little scared of Russia. Feeling confident, Japan goes to war against Russia, just for a moment, and then they both stop. It's time for War One. The world is about to have a war, because it's the 1900s and all these empires are excited to come. Meanwhile, Japan has been enjoying conquering stuff and wants... And the next thing on their list is this part of China and lots of tiny islands. All that stuff belongs to Germany, which just had war declared on it by... So you know what that means. Duh, Japan should come, which they wanted to do anyway, so they called Britain on the elect to sort of let them know. And then they did it. And they also helped Britain a little here and there with some errands and stuff.
Fucking ring.
Now the war is over, and congratulations, Japan, you technically fought in the war, which means you get to sit at the table with the big dudes, where they decided who owns what. And yes, Japan gets to come. You also get to join the post-war mega alliance, the League of Shit, whose mission statement is to take over the world. The Great Depression is bad, and Japan's economy is now shitty, but the military is doing just fine, and it invades Manchuria. And the League of Nations is like, no, don't do that, it's from the League of Shit. And Japan said,
Machine, I will cut you down, break you apart, splay the gore of your profane form across the stars. I will grind you down until the very sparks cry for mercy. My hands shall relish ending you here and now. That's the best you got! Let's settle this!
and Japan invaded more and more and more and more and more and more and more of China, and was planning to invade the entire East. It's from Germany, the new leader of Germany. He has a cool mustache, and he's trying to take over the world and needs friends. This also got forwarded to Italy. They all decided to be friends because they had so much common. It's time for War 2! Germany is invading the neighbors. Then they invade the neighbors' neighbors. Then the neighbors' who happened to be Britain said, holy fucking states started helping Britain because they are friends, and started helping Japan because they're friends, and our friends are not friends, and our friends are not friends, and our friends are not friends. States is also working on a large, very huge bomb, bigger than any other bomb, ever, just in case. But they still have joined the war. But then Japan fucks them in Hawaii and challenges them to war. And they say yes. And then Germany, as a symbol of friendship, declares war on the states also. So the States goes to war in Europe, and they help the gang chase Germany back into Germany. And they also start chasing Japan back into Japan. And they use the bomb, so they drop it on Japan. They actually drop two. And the whole country broke into pieces.